Welcome back to the video of our design thinking series about prototyping. In the previous videos I talked already about what is design thinking, which factors need to be considered, what is the process of design thinking. In this video I would like to talk a little bit more about prototyping. That was the fifth step of the design thinking process, and it's actually one of the key elements of design thinking, or in general agile methodologies. A prototype should be not a validation of a given idea. A prototype should always ask a question and generate more ideas while doing it. Therefore, a prototype is never or doesn't necessarily need to look alike as the end product. A prototype always retires. So after a period of time when it actually does its work of creating new ideas, being the ground of discussions with real users, it's going to retire. A prototype, as I said before, is not there to validate solutions. Yeah? It's there to create or to ask questions, to create new ideas. What you shouldn't do is you should not have a prototype, iterate it, make it better again, maybe use it, make another iteration, make it better, and so on. After some time you stop and you're here. It's better than nothing, but what if you actually create 3 prototypes? Usually it's easier for people or for users to choose from several options. And in the end, for instance, let's say you create 3 prototypes and each of them asks a different question. And in the end, you get feedback on 3 things, not only on 1. And from that, you can actually go on and ask even more questions. Yeah? So in the end, you really get to know what the user requires. A prototype by default doesn't need to be anything fancy. A prototype always, as I said, should retire after some time, and it should be easy to make and easy to adjust. So for instance, I don't know, the early Palm Pad, so the kind of the first smartphone. The guy who invented it, or was the head of design, I think, he was carrying a block of wood for half a year in his pocket to actually get to know, do you really need this? Yeah? So the first Palm, I think, was an address book. So whenever someone asked him, do you know where Mr. XYZ lives? He took out his piece of wood or his block of wood, checked it, and then of course he checked the real address, but kind of made it, or put himself in the specific situation where this product is applied. And in the end he had a huge piece of wood which was not very handy to use. And in the end he came up with a palm shape of his block of wood. But this is actually an example of a good prototype. It was easy to make. It doesn't look, or it actually looks like the end product, but doesn't have any features. It only validates or asks the question, what's the use case of it? What should be the shape of it? And with this, he probably generated more ideas. A prototype doesn't necessarily need to look alike as the end product. Why I'm saying this again, or why I'm putting my points on here, is a prototype can be anything. Even when you create for a computer program or an application, if you just make a role play and see one is the application, for instance, and does something, how's the other one responding? Yeah? So anything can be a prototype.